How I Became a Ghost, a Choctaw Trail of Tears story by Tingle. Chapter 21, The Panther and the Fire. Do you still have your cutting stone? I asked Joseph as we hid behind the tree. Yes, always. I'll cut her down. I can slip up behind her, but once she's on her feet, the guards will come after us, and they don't have to outrun us. They have shotguns. I can lead her to her family, I said. We need some way to distract the soldiers, Joseph said. Some way to slow them down. I think a strong panther could handle the soldiers, I said. You've done it before. What can I do? Nita asked. You can wake up the Choctaw Council, the men and the women, all of them. Let them know what happened. When the soldiers chase us, they can delay them. Every minute is important, I said. I understand, Nita said. She disappeared into the night fog, a 5-year-old Choctaw girl, a ghost, making her first appearance before the Choctaw Council. Her sister's life was at stake. Joseph and I circled the camp. Pointy Nose and Round Men sat on a log by the fire, their shotguns close by. We crept behind the tree and waited. The quarter moon cast a bright light through the naked branches of the tree. Joseph pointed to the sky. A huge cloud moved across the sky. I understood. We would wait till the cloud covered the moon. You take first watch, said Pointy Nose. I'm going to sleep. That's not a good idea, Round Man said. You saw how mad he was. If something happens, we'll be hanging from that tree, and not by our wrist. He wouldn't hang us, Pointy Nose said. Want to risk your life? Asked Round Man. Not me. You stay here, and I'll watch the girl. He rose and moved by the tree where Naomi hung. Round Man leaned against the trunk, 3 feet from us. We sat so quiet, in fear for our lives. If Round Man stepped around the tree, all 3 of us would be dead. He held his shotgun ready to fire. What happened next could never be planned. Something licked me on the ankle. I looked at my feet. There stood Jumper, wagging his tail and ready to play. I froze. Please don't let him bark, I thought. I wanted to ask him how he found me, but there was no time. We needed a distraction, and Jumper was ready to play. As quietly as I could, I ran to the river, and Jumper dashed after me. At just the right moment, the cloud covered the moon and the sky turned dark. With a loud splash, Jumper dove into the river. What was that? Roundman shouted. Something fell in the river, Pointy Nose said, and the 2 soldiers followed the noise. Boom! Roundman's shotgun blasted, and soon the camp was scrambling with soldiers. Oh, what's going on? Shouted Leader as he hurried to the riverbank. Someone stay with the girl, said Leader, and a soldier stay behind. He touched Naomi's feet with the barrel of his shotgun. Naomi jerked. Don't you worry, he said, with a cruel smile on his voice. You're not going anywhere. I hid behind the hanging tree. No one could see me. I was sure of that. Joseph was gone. I heard a clawing sound and looked above me. The panther crouched at the tree limb, gnawing on the rope. Suddenly, Naomi fell to the ground. The panther leapt on the soldier and his shotgun went flying. We have to run, I said. Can you make it? Lead the way, she said. She was shaking, but I knew she was strong. Her wrists were still tied to the rope, but we had no time to stop. She dragged the rope behind her as she ran. The panther ran to the fire and slapped the burning logs, sending fiery embers all about the camp. Boom! 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 The soldiers fired at Jumper in the river. Ah, let him be, shouted Leader. It's only a dog. Look, said Round Man. The camp is on fire. The soldiers returned to camp ready for battle. Panther Joseph was ready too. He gripped a burning log in his teeth and jumped into a wagon. The cloth top of the wagon burst into flames. The panther wasn't finished. He roared his panther cry and jumped under the burning wagon, hiding himself in the flames. When the wagon collapsed, he limped to a tree, climbing up the trunk and disappeared into the branches. 2 soldiers surrounded the tree and fired their shotguns overhead. A blast hit the limb where the panther crouched. Before it hit the ground, the panther jumped on the soldiers, knocking both of them off their feet. With all eyes on the panther, Naomi and I were far from the camp before they realized she was gone. When we arrived at the Choctaw Council wagon, Everyone was wide awake. They were expecting us. Nita did her job, I thought. "You are the captured girl?" a councilwoman asked. "Yes," said Naomi. "Here," she said. "Let me help you." She hurried to the wagon and returned with a sharp knife. She sliced the rope and tossed it into the campfire. "We don't want the soldiers to see that," she said. "Now, you must leave. The soldiers will be here soon. Can you find your way to your family by yourself?" "I am not by myself," Naomi said. I realized the woman couldn't see me. I floated into sight. "Oh," the woman said, "I see you are protected by our ghost friend. But you must hurry. We'll do what we can to stop them." We ran without looking behind. I soon realized Naomi was faster than me. This was only my first day. I hadn't learned to run like a ghost. The Panther was faster than us both. The soldiers fired their guns at us, but we had a big lead. They returned to their camp in the burning wagon, while we hurried down the line of walkers nearing my family's camp. Luke saw us first. "You must be Naomi," he said. "We don't have time to talk, not now. You know you can't stay here. Your mother and father are with my family. This is the first place they will look." My parents stood with Gabe and Ruth. "Where can I go?" Naomi asked. "We have a wagon ready," said Luke. "Follow me." "Wait," Naomi said. "There is no time," said Luke. "We have to go. There is time for this," Naomi said. She stretched out her arms, and her mother and father ran to greet her. "We were so afraid for you," Ruth said. "You know that Nita is gone?" asked Gabe. "Hey!" Nita's sweet voice always came when you least expected it. She floated into sight. "I'm not gone. I'm just a ghost. But I am still part of the family." Only Nita could bring smiles on a day like today. "Oh, of course," said Ruth. "Family stays together. Always." "You better be going," Gabe said. "Chepi Salah Chike," they said. We followed Luke to a Choctaw wagon a half-mile down the road. "They are waiting for you," he said. "We didn't know you would come so soon, but after Nita spoke to us, we told them everything. They are ready to hide you, Naomi." Luke led us to the rear of the covered wagon. Who would risk their lives by hiding Naomi? I asked myself. I soon had my answer. "We are here," Luke called to the people on the wagon. An old woman with wrinkled skin and long white hair stuck her head through the curtain. She nodded and flung the curtain open. 3 even older women smiled and welcomed Naomi into their wagon, into their world, the world of the bone pickers. I lifted my arms and passed through the wagon walls.